Aloha, friends. It's Robert with Blue Planet. I'm here for another live show every Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. in Hawaii. I'm going to keep posting live shows as long as people are watching and interested in it. So if you're watching, please let me know where you're watching from. It's always cool to hear all comments and stuff like that. And then this show, I talk about, excuse me, in this show, I talk about what's new at Blue Planet, and then I talk about, get into some comments from the YouTube channel, answer some questions, and then any comments here on the live feed, I'll respond to those as well. So it's always cool to get feedback from people watching the live show. I appreciate that. So first of all, I've been super busy here on Oahu, and we have something exciting in the works, but I can't really publicly announce it yet. But next Wednesday, I should be able to make that announcement, and it's a really exciting news. So if you can join me next Wednesday for the live show, I promise it'll be very interesting and exciting. And today, after this show, I'm interviewing Alex Aguera from GoFoil. So I'm really excited about that as well. That should be really interesting. I finally got him to join the Blue Planet show. So I'm going to interview him in depth. And if you guys out there have any questions you would like me to ask him for you, just put that in the comments here, and I'll make sure to ask him all the questions, everything we want to know about. So one thing I'm definitely going to ask him about is the whole backstory of how he got started with the bigger foils for surfing, with Kai Lenny, that video he posted, that kind of kickstarted the whole surf foiling thing a few years back with the foil that Alex Aguera built, and Kai Lenny used it on a downwinder with the big board, and that kind of got everyone super excited. I think that video on Facebook now has over 5 million views, which is amazing. So I'm going to ask him all the details about that, but any other questions, let me know, and I'll get into that as well with him. All right, so let me talk a little bit about get into the comments from last week on the YouTube channel. So one comment was from Robert Lavis. He says, "It's one of your best interviews. I keep rewatching parts. Mark is super interesting and inspiring." So this comment is from the Mark Rappahorst interview. And yes, I agree with you, Robert. That video, that interview is great. I really enjoyed talking to Mark Rappahorst. He has such a colorful background, and just a story about him getting to Maui without being underage and not having a driver's license, and basically having to make a fake driver's license so he could get around. I thought that was hilarious. So and then he's just such a cool guy, and just being innovative and just trying things even though like 80% of them fail. I think that's a good philosophy for life. So if you haven't watched that interview, check out the Blue Planet live show or the Blue Planet show with Mark Rappahorst. All right. So the next comment. So last week I finished that PSUPA training course, which was the Professional Stand-Up Paddle Association training course. And at the end of that course, we always practice the flip rescue technique, where basically you turn the board upside down. If someone's like drowning or can't get back up on their board, you flip the board upside down, slide them onto the board with their arms over the bottom, and then you can flip the board over with them on the board. So then that way they end up on the top, and you can paddle them back in. And I had a lot of that one was really popular, and a lot of people posted, we got lots of thumbs up and also a lot of comments. So one of the comments was here from Steve Harding. He said, "Very good info, thanks. What about self-rescue if you get too tired to climb back on? Can you get on by sinking the rear and slide on? I don't have a board yet, so trying to learn as much as possible before I rent one in 2 weeks, thanks." So that is one way you can get back on the board, is by on a stand-up paddleboard. If you get towards the tail and you push the tail down, you can kind of sink it and slide back on a little bit easier than from the middle, although then the tail of the board can be very tippy, so then you have to like slide up towards the center of the board and then get up from there. So most of the time I prefer and I teach people to get on from the middle of the board, so being right at this middle of the board where the board's more stable as well. And then, but the main thing that most beginners, or the biggest mistake that beginners make, is kicking the feet down under the board instead of kicking it behind you. So to get back on the board, you definitely want to kick your feet behind you like you're swimming. Get your feet close to the water surface and then give it a good kick, and then it's easy to just slide your chest onto the board. It's really the same thing if you're getting on the board from the tail. If you're kicking your feet under the board, it's going to be very hard to pull yourself up on that board. So you want to kick your feet behind you, regardless of whether you're doing from the tail or the center of the board. So that's the easiest way to get back on the board. So regardless of where you are in relation to the board, that's the best way. And then another comment was from David Velasquez, who's one of the regulars here on YouTube as well. And he was part of the course, and he said, "Fantastic work, everyone. I was there with y'all in spirit." He did the course from Texas. So he joined us from Texas, which is really cool. "This training was incredibly fun and thorough. I love how you included the whole learning process, mistakes and all. This is not the easiest technique to do. Thanks so much." Yeah, thank you, David. And I agree, the flip rescue, it looks pretty simple and easy, but it's really not, especially if you have a bigger, heavier person, and you really have to use your body weight and leverage to flip that board over with the person. So, but it's really a good skill to practice, like that flip rescue. I think everybody should know how to do that. You know, if you ever get into that situation where someone's in trouble, they can't get back on the board, that's really the best way to get somebody back onto the board. And so maybe watch that video on the flip rescue and then practice that with a partner. Just practice it, both of you. And it looks pretty simple and easy, but getting it right is not as easy as it looks, for sure. And especially if you have someone that's struggling or unresponsive or not able to help you get them on the board to rescue them. So I highly recommend watching that video and also practicing that flip rescue for, just in case something happens, it could save someone's life, All right. So like I said, in about an hour, I'm going to interview Alex Aguera from GoFoil. I'm really excited about that. So if any of you have any comments, please put that in the chat. If you have any questions you would like to ask, or you would like me to ask Alex Aguera in the interview, just let me know. Actually, also let me know where you're watching from. There's, I guess there's only 7 people watching right now. So, but it's cool to have an audience, and I always enjoy the commenting back and forth between people watching the live show. So if there's anything you guys want to post or ask about, I'm right here, open and ready to talk. Otherwise, I'm gonna finish it up. So, all right, thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you have a great day, and see you next week for another live show. Aloha.